No, I was on my regular job yesterday all day. Were you?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yes and no. Doing it kind of real quick, and it was kind of like one screen and it was fine. Two was also kind of toggling back and forth between the videos, so I see what he's doing.
Okay. 23 to 27, like I said.
What was it for the medicine?
For DocuSign.
A wooded area, and that's what she says. Like,
Well, the girl, so I went to a
I'm not gonna
class
settle.
out the Mario source, and the girl that taught the class.
I didn't say it twice, did I?
No, I'm just saying.
It was she said she's gonna be teaching us sign.
Chucky! What's up, man?
Yeah.
Charles, I brought donuts.
Oh.
Help yourself.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Program.
maybe when it fills in more. Okay.
Here will be DocuSign and
Some of their ladies take their children over, so they're.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't tell you.
Yeah.
You just call. She just started with them in Starbucks. He goes, all right, I'll be there. He goes, I'm gonna do a brief introduction at 9. He won't be here till 9:30. You guys, welcome to Ignite Senior Citizen Edition.
There's one lot. She does.
Yeah, we'll get started. We'll get back.
And that's it. Everything else is.
What's it?
378.
I'm not sure what.
Write your vote.
yeah.
I'm assuming it.
Usually it's green.
I gotta spell your name.
$378 for the house and then.
I've been trying to type on mine.
Usually there's a green.
There was no video of your property.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I looked up to see if there was anything.
Sold to me.
I'm trying to tell
I probably sold 5 more constructions on this there.
you. You're 350. Well,
Sign here.
no,
They don't want it, I get out.
oh, no, I understand that.
They're good, aren't they?
Very
Sign.
Thank you so much.
Don't be shy.
Yes, it is. I didn't try to change my favorite.
And now you're out there begging for the stuff and you just get it.
Yeah.
It was so nice to see your mom the other day. She looked so happy.
Oh, where'd you see? Oh,
Here,
meeting,
yeah.
that's right.
Between being married and having a grandbaby, she's in heaven.
Oh, yeah, she's
Yeah.
I understand.
tell you, she babysits all the time.
That's what she said. She's like, I have to get a real job. I babysit a little small. But I guess it's your sister's baby.
Correct.
She's gonna cut back on work or change your schedule a little bit, so your mom will have to do that. So that's good.
Yeah.
I hate it though, your mom doesn't want the baby in daycare, she'd rather spend the time with you.
I know, she enjoys spending time with
Yeah.
me.
She might have to learn
But at the
to-
same time, it's like, they use her a lot, you know?
Don't help yourself.
Oh, I thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I'm just gonna gain, my mom got me 3 of them.
That's okay. I gave the other side.
Hey, Dominic.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
He pays his,
Do you need laptops?
and then he pays. He paid 75.
Riley and Holly and Becca, maybe a couple, but sometimes it's like 10 or 15. That's how I would start.
Wow.
Because we asked him,
All right.
did that
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
We're still, I think, waiting for a couple others, but we're gonna get started here. Before we get into presenting offers, I was talking to Carla when she got here. How's the prospecting going for you guys? Your lead generating?
Slow.
Slow? What are you doing to?
I haven't been, I'm very new, so I've really just been trying to take in information. This is my second week.
Okay. You're real.
Yeah, so I just taking in a lot of information and next week with all my
Advice
classes.
to you is just start calling everybody you know. Oh, what's your name?
Bill.
Bill. Yeah, just start calling. Start calling everybody and tell them what Bill does, where you're at now, how excited you are to get Huntington's Lakeside, biggest real estate company in Cole County. And just, it's a hello, it's no pressure, and just get things
I mean,
generated.
I have been putting out emails and texts to a lot of friends and, you know, getting some touches where, oh, this guy said selling a house, I know he's putting up on the market, so I got a hold of him. His friend's doing it, etc. But ideas of walkthroughs.
You gotta reach out like that, you can't, and what I learned, or I've been doing this 27 years, it's not gonna come to you.
Right.
To make it come to you, you have to go out there and make things happen. Probably doing an event tomorrow.
Yeah.
You gotta be proactive.
Yes.
So,
Do it.
Charles, how you doing?
It's
I've been doing good, you know, I could be better, I could be making more calls, if I'm honest, but a lot of my calls lately have been just like influence,
Yeah.
you know, that's where I'm starting right now.
No,
That's
Friends,
great.
I know it's supposed to be marked private
all
on
that
the
jazz.
but you're welcome to
Good.
come. I just had 6 vendors come
Yeah.
and people ask me,
Been
Yeah, I
at
even
my
tell-
jazz
oh,
days.
coffee
I tell
donuts, so if you
people-
wanna come, you're welcome.
Tell 10 people a day about what
I
you do.
think
What is
Mark,
it?
And that's
What
a
is
low
it?
number.
What's gonna
10
happen?
people a day
what I
about
really
what
want is my
you
clients that have questions to
And
come, it's about getting
do. Do that 5 times a week,
um,
and you'll see.
Okay, so
clearing
it's-
your title, like getting your title work done, getting your pre-approval done. And then I have a videographer coming that I've used for my sales so far, and he's gonna explain about
What's your
staging
name?
and getting.
Bessa.
And you work with Ben and,
I'm Elkie, yeah.
Coming too.
and what do
To
you, what
answer
are you
questions,
buyer's
like if
agent
you're
on the
getting ready to
team
sell your house,
or?
they wanna know what the inspector
Buyer's
looks at,
agent,
and
yes.
like, where do I
Had 2
invest
listings
the
so
money?
far. I can't sell this Grosse Pointe house.
So do you prospect, do you just
So those
spend
kind of
and not have you
I
prospect?
do,
Call in?
but I'd love to
I'm
still
not
be
so good
here,
at it.
so if you
Okay.
guys.
You'll get by. I know you're new.
What do you mean
as
you
well,
have
but-
another great?
But
I
Too bad it's not
prospected to my
everybody.
open
client
houses
base.
is,
and
I like
That's
open
good.
houses,
I
I'm
think
doing
I
that,
have 3 people
Always
outside.
get it, yeah.
Like,
You
almost
have the
every-
site.
oh,
said they're coming.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
good,
right.
that's good.
What if
Yeah.
we, how Williams do?
I know this guy over here.
Exactly, and I'll take pictures, so you're more than welcome.
And how's it going for you?
And you can learn some stuff.
Yeah.
They're really great vendors. It's our in-house title.
Oh, just about everybody
I
I know.
use, Steve
Also,
Landry from Capital Notes. He's my go-to lender. There's other lenders available as well, but he's very energetic in that. Different kinds. How to get you from one place to the other. Like, it's not complicated, how you can leave this house and get here, then sell that house using the equity.
You know, from
It's got a lot of
that.
training.
No, I don't, I gotta talk.
My house and my girlfriend.
So I'll see if.
So-
Down
You're leaving on good terms, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Talk to
good.
him.
There's like
I'm
20
gonna talk to
houses being offered.
My husband's there.
Is it?
Small company.
Would it possible for her to be here too?
Yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily investment information, but if she has
But
questions.
it's not even so much that, as much as staging and that sort of thing would
Yeah,
be.
she's welcome.
Okay.
Things go well for you too. I met you.
So I'm not sure if
my wife.
we're doing that. Yeah, there's a group of people down at the hotel I'm staying at.
Getting started.
Creek County tomorrow, so I'm not make it forward, but I'll see.
Yeah, just like I was telling
You said it's 8:30 till
Keep
what?
letting everybody know about what you're doing. I was telling them over there.
You can come when you
Take
can, you don't
contacts
have
today.
to, like,
Just,
it's not a set.
you know, I,
Stop by.
If there's anything else, I'll say what people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
And then
great.
we'll
Bill,
look
Bill.
at Facebook.
So yes, what do you know? You know, that can use my help right now. And this is a good time of year to do that because you get.
And it's
you
convenient.
know, you're just looking to build your inventory or your business for the upcoming year. And most people, you know, I mean, some people are gonna say, oh, I'm not looking to buy or sell, so I understand you're not looking to learn, you know.
Right.
And just do those every day, or 5 days a week, I say.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, is make contact.
And I know you are. Making contact. That's it, we're talking about constant.
I'm gonna do an open house Sunday.
Oh, good, yeah, that's a great idea, that's great.
Down there?
Well, is everybody ready to talk about making and receiving offers?
Yes.
So you know the flow with that is you can either, you know, as a buyer's agent, you'll be making an offer on behalf of your buyer. And then as a seller's agent, as a listing agent, you're gonna be receiving the offer. So we're gonna talk about how it works in both those instances. And we'll talk, you know, you guys can type in about some of your experiences and so forth. Okay? You know, if you represent the buyer, you know, it says here your searching is paid off if, you know, client found their new home. Again, if you're representing the seller and you get an offer, most likely you price the house right, and you have an offer coming in. Either or on both sides, buyer or seller, you probably know already. If you haven't done so, it's a very emotional experience. So the best thing for us to do is just remain calm and not get, because you get excited, you get an offer, you want it to go through, but you gotta be the voice of
Delivery for Mr. Torres.
Delivers to understand.
Double espresso, wake him up.
Do I need it?
I think he got in trouble already. You guys all know who this guy is? He's pretty famous. He's the Floyd Wickman program, which is one of the longest standing 40 years of training realtors across the country. He's in their top 15%. 10% or 15%?
Probably.
He's in the top 15% in the country. All right, that's like a national training program that's been around. I think Floyd started in 1979. Fall of 1979. When Floyd Wickman got started. And his son Gino Wickman runs one of the top business consulting firms in the world, and they have 15,000 corporate clients, including us. So when you're talking with this guy, you're talking to somebody who's pretty damn smart.
Not gonna able to that. So does everybody have their book on this wall? So I'm on page 11 here. Where the offer process. As you see, buyer makes the offer, and then the seller can respond in one of three ways. They can either counter it, they can accept it, which we would all like to have happen, or they can reject it. When they reject it, it's not always a done deal because you can always go back into it. So when you're representing your buyer, and you need to prepare to write the offer and put that offer together. So one of the first things you want from the buyer is you want them to know that they're pre-approved. Or if they're paying cash, you want to see that they have the cash on hand to be able to buy the home. I don't get buyers in my car until they've established a mortgage company or something, and I hope the rest of you are practicing the same way. I know we get excited if a buyer calls, they want to see a house, or they want to start looking at houses, and we get them out there. First step is, have you talked to anybody about a mortgage yet? Either if they say I have, I say, who are you talking to? I just need a letter from them. And sometimes they look at you kind of funny, and I say, that's for you. I'll tell them I need that for you so I can better represent you. I call it ammunition. Because when I go to the table to present an offer on your behalf, they're going to wonder, who are these people? How can they afford my house? Well, here, we at least can show them you're good to go. Or, if they don't know anybody, we have 3 or 4 companies here we can refer them to, or anybody else that you could be happy to work with. So, you take them out and show them the houses, you're writing that offer on their behalf. You want that pre-approval letter, as I said. And then I do a CMA for them, and that would be smart to do too. So when they find a house that they want to make an offer on, do a market analysis, just like you would do when you go to list a home, because if they're asking $150 for a house, you want to show them, justify that. Why are they asking $150? So if that house is up for $150, and your buyer comes in and they say they only want to offer $98, well, you got to show them the comps that the other houses around there are going between $145 and $150. You want to show them that.
The appraiser uses that same information, so it's good for them to know that.
Correct. Now, question comes up if your buyer wants to make a lowball offer, do you write it or not? That's going to be up to you. But I would educate them first, explain to them why at the time wouldn't be in their best interest to put that lowball offer together.
Do you have a way of figuring out if it's like how low will you go for your customer? Do you pick a percentage of the sale price, or do you look at the comparables and offer
I look at the comparables and advise from there.
Okay.
And then I'll usually advise, if they want to go lower, I'd say, again, it just depends on the property, but within 5,000.
Okay. So that is your 5,000 property.
Yeah. Of course, we want to make sure before we go and show that property or any of those properties that it's still available, especially with the way the market is now. Sometimes things hit the market today and they're gone by tonight. So, and even if you showed that property, before you go to take all the time to do all these other things, just call the agent and say, hey, we looked at your property, just want to make sure that it's still available. Okay. And you want to talk to the other agent. This thing about, I know today we're in a day and age of technology where, well, it's easy to email and text, but I highly advise, when you're putting an offer together, to call that agent. Get a feel, say, ask them about their seller, see if you can ask them some questions, maybe get some motivation out of them of what their seller's motivation is.
They may tell you too that there's multiple offers coming in,
Correct.
which will help you to know if you should
Correct.
be following that or not.
Yes.
Be competitive.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I always say, I'll get offers from agents on my properties. Sometimes they go into my spam. Then they call, it's like, I can't believe these people didn't even call me. So you do want to call and talk to that other agent. Like I said, build rapport, ask those questions. And then, you'll want to get your seller's disclosures and things like that. And then, of course, the other paperwork that goes along with it is your buyer agency, your disclosure agency disclosure, and so forth. Okay. So, also make sure that your buyer has earnest money to go down. And usually, I recommend like 2%, at least 2% of sales price. You sometimes get a buyer that wants to come in, well, I'll come in with $500. That's not going to cut it. You're showing good faith, or you're showing seriousness. So, and I like to, if you could get that deposit when the offer is being made. I know in our purchase agreements, you can make it upon acceptance. And then the other thing, do any of you who have done offers, do you have your buyers, when you're doing it on behalf of your buyer, do you have them do a cover letter or write a letter to the seller?
It depends on the situation.
I've done it once.
Yeah, I don't do it all the time here, but exactly. For me, it depends on the situation.
Sometimes it's really important to the seller who is buying their home. They have a feeling about it. They want to leave it in something. Not that that's how it should be based, but it could help sway their decision to choose your home.
Well, if you guys are doing pictures of Con Ed, they advise not to bring it. It's tricky, but a letter, I don't think would hurt.
Excuse me.
And you'll know if it's offer.
Yeah, if you know when to write one of
For
them.
sure.
When the listing agent and seller is done.
Because it humanizes it.
Yeah, it makes it a person, not a check.
As I said earlier, there's a lot of emotion involved, so.
You want to pose or you want to not pose? No more. Mr. Sandy,
Yeah, she texted me this morning.
enjoy your class, guys.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
There's donuts, help yourself.
And I mean, the other thing is, you just want to remind your buyers not to disclose anything too personal about themselves, financially especially, or anything like that. Because it could, you don't want to put them in a position where.
Or pictures sometimes.
Right, because sometimes that's
Family photos.
So, as I said, when you're representing your buyers, you put the offer together, you've done the CMA, you sit down, you guys come up with a price, okay? You get that all together, then, as I said, even if you, I say to pre-call the listing agent. Once you got that offer together, call that agent again. Don't send it over. Tell them you have an offer for them coming over. You talk about the offer. And sometimes I met buyer agents that say, well, I'm working for my client representative, and they got to come across as they're fighting for their client. We're all working together here. Yes, you are representing your buyer, but at the same time, you want to go approach that agent. We want to win-win. Old Keller Williams thing. So you want to build rapport and present on your buyer's behalf. Anyway, present on your buyer's behalf, and like I said, have that agent. You want to make friends with that co-op agent. So you're presenting the offer, explaining about your buyer. Tell them what your buyer liked about it. Maybe there was some concerns that the buyer had about the home. Explain that as well. So if it's not coming in right at full price, maybe these were some of the concerns. They're not looking to, I would say, we're not looking to offend here with anybody, but this is why they came in where they're at. And I always say, just see what you can do. Because they may say, well, that's not really what my seller was looking for. Say, well, I understand. But here it is, here's why, see what you can do, and let me know what they say. let me know how they respond, so.
Dominic, do you ever present the offer to the selling agent with the seller's present?
Well, I've been doing this 27 years. There was a time when that's all we did, because there was no internet, there was no email. I personally miss those days, but I know the way things are done now, it saves time and so forth, but there was an art to that. But I have done that in this, day and age of technology. It's not often anymore, but if you can do it, and everybody agrees to it, that's a great idea. Because you either get them in, depending on the situation. If it's not our listing, it's your buyer, you're probably going to go to that office, or you're going to go to the kitchen table. But yeah, that's what we used to do. You go right to the kitchen table, you present, and that was, you give multiple copies, you give a copy to everybody. You sit across the table, and I would paint a picture about my buyers there, to the sellers directly.
Yeah.
And tell them why they like their home.
I actually had a situation where it was an ugly situation, but eventually we closed, where I presented the offer to the listing agent, letting them know how serious the buyer my buyer was. But we didn't want to mix the buyer and the seller together, but I presented it to the listing agent.
Yeah, you don't want to put the buyer, I would advise you put the buyer and seller
Yes.
together in that situation, but, because sometimes, buyers would be there. I've had buyers sit out in the car back in the day.
And that's what she
Just
did.
come out and tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so in that situation, she was with me in the car when I presented the offer to the listing agent.
And if you run into that situation, say, you want to do that, your buyer wants you to do that, I just ask the listing agent, my buyer would like that, I present you and your seller face to face. So we set up a time to do that. See what they say, if you request that. So it's not a bad idea. That was the way we did things. Lose an old timer, so he can.
But yeah, because Dom and I, we would love to present our own offers. And the reason being is that I can put a lot of personal stuff into our offer and really truly represent our buyer to the best of our ability. Whereas if you give the offer to the listing agent, he presents it to the seller, he has no emotions to it or anything. And he's just said, okay, here's the offer, here's your net, what do you want to do? Okay, whereas I can go in there and really negotiate for my client, and the seller can actually see that. And I can't tell you guys how many times, we get our offers accepted because we put that personal touch to it. Yeah, I miss those days too. Those are the good ones.
So, but anyway, as we're talking about here, don't just let the machines do it for you. That's kind of the point that's the point I always like to make. Get personal and get in it. This is still a people business, Did you have a question, Mark?
Page 14 mentions the buying booth. What is that? Mentions it twice.
That's part of that.
Yeah, that's dot loop in that. Which
Okay, so
we're
we're not using dot
we're not
loop.
using it anymore. That's why I'm not even, that's another class, but I appreciate it.
Would that be command now, or?
Probably, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we want to get personal, you want to humanize the offer. Like I said, don't just let the machine do it for you. And then what you want to put in that offer too, I always say, put a time in there. Not that it always means a whole hell of a lot, but the time that you want a response by from that buyer, or from that seller, for your buyer's offer. This way you're not waiting. I usually do it anywhere from 24 to 48 hours personally. And I'll tell my buyer, if they don't answer back exactly on that point, it doesn't mean that we don't have a deal, but we just want to put a time in there to have everybody to adhere to that, so we're not dragging those away.
But now, I guess if you put a specific time in and they don't respond to that time, that offer is.
It is, but in my opinion, that's not written in stone, because what if they call you, if your expiration was 12 o'clock today and they don't call you at 12:30, is your buyer going to say no if they say we accept your offer? But yes, technically it does mean that, right? But I always put that out there, so if they're 15, 30 minutes late, you're going to say no. And chances are they're
not
It gives your buyers a chance to breathe and sit back, and if that 48 hours comes back and they haven't answered, they'll be like, I don't want to do it anyways. I mean, it kind of gives them an out.
True.
That happened to me once, where they were kind of glad it didn't answer in 48 hours. they were like, okay, good, we like that other one better, even thinking about it. Which is great that it happened, but sad that it happened as well.
Yeah, and it does happen.
It does happen.
We all had that happen. And then, you know, in that case, when that does happen, you still ask questions as to why. You know, maybe it's just buyer's remorse and they need to be talked. They need to be talked off the ledge. You know, and sometimes I've had them come back to the, you know, to the table after that. They just need to be talked to. And again, it all goes back to it's a people business. There's a ton of emotions that are going on both ends because it's, you know, financially, it's one of the biggest things we do.
Now, if your buyer gets cold feet or changes their mind before the offer is accepted, you know, we can rescind the offer, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I said, though, in that case, I would still try to talk to the buyer, ask them why, you know, as I said, sometimes they're just freaking out because they would do that. And it's not necessarily the property, it's the situation. It just is, you know, what I found, or it could be a mom and dad, you know, so. And that's another thing, I always say if moms or dads are involved, bring them to see all the houses so they can see what their kids are looking at, you know, because that is rough for as well. You know, and you know, when that buyer, you know, wants to make an offer and say they want to make a low offer, again, do the CMA for them. And you know, and ask them why they're doing that. Sometimes just because they feel they have to. You know, it's not even necessarily the house, it's just there's somebody on their shoulder, it could be a mom or dad. And I'll say, you just want to make that low offer because you feel it's not right if you don't. And they'll laugh and say, yeah. And I'll say, well, wouldn't you rather get the house than do that and have them reject the offer? You're just going to break it down.
They may be too feeling out the seller to see if they will counter.
Well, yeah, that's all about, that's what I was saying, that's all about talking to the listing agent. And kind of, now remember that listing agent's representing their client too.
They can't tell you everything.
They can't tell you everything, but again, that's why I always call the listing agent and just get a feel for what's going on there. You know, anything that can help me go back to my buyer and help my buyer and help us to put the best offer together as possible. You know?
When you say get a feel for the situation with a seller, what do you mean by that?
What their motivation is. Maybe if they will accept a lower offer. And it's not going to hurt you to ask that. You know, say if there was a concern that the buyer had about the roof. Ask the agent, yeah, we noticed that the roof. Oh yeah, you know, the seller knows that. And they could either say we've priced it accordingly or we haven't, and they just wanted to see if they'll do an allowance for it. It's just again all about asking questions. Okay. And sometimes, you know, your buyer's going to make an offer, they're going to make a lower offer, and it could be because, well, say that roof looks pretty worn, probably in 5 or 6 years I'm going to have to do that. So what I'll usually tell my buyers is either we'll make an offer to reflect that, or let's just make an offer, you're going to have a home inspection, okay? We can always go back after the home inspection and see, you know, and then I always do tell my buyers a home inspection is not just always the reason to go back and either gouge the price or whatever. We want to see to what extent. So I always, to the big ones, I say if the roof is in bad shape, furnace, air, things like that, or you know, there's an issue with foundation. Those are the things you go back, you know, you usually go back with, or unless the electrical is majorly screwed up, you know. But I always put that seed out there to kind of let them know you're having an inspection, to see what you're getting into, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go back. Okay. But again, you can make that offer to either reflect if before the inspection, if you think there's going to be repairs, or just put that offer in and kind of let the inspection go through and see how that plays out.
Do you put that as a contingency on the offer?
The inspection?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's right in our offers.
Right.
It's right in there, so yes.
I mean, some people tend to, even though things are in the documents, in the offer itself, they still go back and put that in there. So
you're saying like additionally?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a whole paragraph in there, so there's really no need, you know, no need to do that, because in our paragraph, it pretty much covers whatever we call it due diligence. So
right.
If it's radons in there, that all counts in there.
Right.
You know, but you could put it in additional conditions to reiterate it, but to me it's redundant.
Right.
But you could. And I've seen that before too, by the way. So what I'm gonna have you do is a little role play here amongst each other for about maybe 10 minutes. Break up in groups of 2 or 3. And just pretend that you are that you're presenting an offer on behalf of your buyer. Yeah, you could.
What's that? No.
So yeah, so now we're doing this on the buyer's behalf. You could either role play or you're presenting it to the other agent, which is most likely right now, even if it's on the phone, or you could do it like pretend you're sitting at the kitchen table. So, and also you could start, I'm sorry, you could also start where one is the buyer and one is the agent, and putting an offer together through your buyer, and then going on to present it to as well. You know, so here's
Okay.
Good news is we did get it's not consistent. So this cash sale.
Okay.
Basically getting this is going to.
No, I appreciate it.
Just gonna kind of.
We don't get that.
My buyers.
No, sir.
Is that ready?
You want
Charles,
Anyway, considering the process
and you're aware of what to do.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm doing it. Waves the whole so what do you say first premiere.
Yeah, but that would be
They didn't really sign anything. We asked for 30 days. Titles within 5 business days.
I received the,
we're going through,
you'll have a, diligence period of time.
So it's
so what happens is when I get that check,
we got to make sure
it's deposited
and
what that
shows
shows the seller
Sellers to pay for roof assessment.
yeah.
Higher salaries to accept.
So this stuff, that's really
It made that, it
already started moving anyway.
Yes.
We don't have an issue.
I'm here to go.
With the whole.
You know about the rest of the assessment.
Each one, and make sure.
This just wasn't the price.
Why did they stop it? Okay, John, all right, so everything you have to provide, say you want to what we do is we put out this out. Specifically, there's one concessions, and then one is adjustment.
Very hard to that kind of stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's your What's making you want What's that going to do for you?
And he wasn't one of my instructors.
So why are they waiting to get you did all our things. You got to do it. No, I'm just saying, but you gotta go back and
Fire.
what is that trying to do?
Make sure he's. If you're the wires.
Okay, why did you start saying? Okay, let me ask you this question. What evidence did you show to them
That they signed.
You
Oh, you don't know. Can you prove it? You prove that they. So it's about what you can prove. So then you sit down and put up everything. Whatever it is. It's similar to your.
Right, do it, and then self-control.
What makes you?
Instead of sitting with one person.
So really, in that case,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm doing this as a good thing. That means I got buyers. I've never used it. So.
that's why I would tell her, when I would tell my buyer, next week, we'll be able to call them. So, yeah, by the way, but I know what you're saying, so you're saying.
No demand.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Freestanding. I did have
But yeah, it's just, to me, that was good.
You gotta show them how you're gonna do it.
Exactly what you said.
I get involved. That's I need a bias. Okay, I got a bias.
You just don't hit cement and.
I got a swallow.
What are you trying to say here?
I should say that. I said, well, look it over, make sure everything makes sense, but I know, and I checked that the other homes had already done something. I'm trying to find that. I didn't say that.
Give them a You know what? Great idea.
Yeah, so sell it slow.
Say you're listed. By the way, your bylaws. If they do, have them on here.
What's that? Yeah. I'm gonna, next weekend, I'm still looking, I'm hoping to do another house. I've never even been to one. This past weekend.
That's real good.
I went through a couple. Yeah, well, I picked a couple.
I love this.
Do you? Face to face. Right. Yeah. I'm not saying that.
Buyer agent to buyer.
I'm just trying to get it. Okay.
Yeah, this was until like December.
And it has to be
This guy. I told him, I had to write it up. What I was thinking about.
We had that house in across the street from us. That car jacked in the driveway.
You know what about you?
The city has, you know, it's not HOA, but the city has. And the car. It has to be operable.
You'll get the test.
Right. And then actually the car also shares. The parking lot is their neighbor's house.
What I
call it.
It's wrong. 8 times 7 years I still have all. You see some of the guys.
Like if somebody's grass longer than for 10 years, or something like that. You know, it's gotta be parked. First couple of days started.
Yeah, I've never thought this before, but next time I do it, it'll be a lot better. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, I'll probably do it.
Thank you so much.
That's how long it was. Potential. I'll go downstairs. Finish. Forget about it, you want to show it. Let's say that I have a bonus from upstairs.
You say your mother's from?
Oh,
really?
Don't tell them that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Hallelujah. Joe, he was a
Are they needed?
Like, we Okay, okay.
This is, I gotta understand.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Where I sign.
You realize that?
Really? Yeah. I'm actually one of those. Yeah, it's time to go back though. Yeah. Well, all my kids are.
And then once it comes back.
Yeah.
So we're talking about hours.
You know what I asked you for? You just
Jumping back.
that way you can. Your job is to make sure you do the job. My problem is I can try to help somebody. I'm not getting it.
All right, that's perfect. That's what I need to do. I need to.
This is really good.
I need to get a little while.
Program social. I like to speak. Let me put this, my temperament.
Okay. How's everybody doing?
Okay, yes, but you have to review.
Guys, talk
But I
for
really want to do it with me. You gotta go through it. I don't see how we get you that.
Yeah.
Well, you're coming home. Next Monday.
Right.
By the troubles and so
You'll get more. All right. Okay, we're gonna move on to everybody do good?
in the room.
That is the game.
So, yes, yeah.
You always want to tell me what I did. It's not like I kept saying, we got what we got.
So how did everybody do?
Oh, you're welcome.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
How did everybody do? Any questions on any of that?
I haven't even looked at it.
How you did, Carl? You're good.
Is there a discussion?
You started. I think you said, yeah, Albert went down up there. Albert.
I am up there.
Okay. Yep, so just put it back.
Oh, yeah.
If you could pass that
I
around.
think at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll. So anyway, how did it go? Anybody have anything to add? You want to share how some of it went? Stephanie?
Oh, no. It was great.
What did you learn?
I actually did. They are foreign,
Oh,
so
that's good.
they taught me.
Let's talk about it so everybody. I know that sounds good.
Turn that way, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, let me, I'm trying to figure out.
Go ahead.
Earnest money deposit. There was something I learned about that I didn't know.
What's that?
Escrow. like, where the hell does that earnest money deposit, like, where does it go?
It goes into a trust account, and what it gets applied to the purchase price of the house. So, it's a deposit on the house that is also, like, if you put a down payment on it, like your closing costs, it's gonna go with that. So at closing time, you're gonna see in the adjustments on debits and credits, it's gonna show your earnest money as a. It's a credit to the purchaser.
Right, it goes toward,
Well, this is my confusion, because I want to clarify. This is what I didn't know, and I had to ask them. When a buyer deposits cash into their checking account,
yeah,
they write out their earnest money deposit,
5,000, say there.
whatever, it's $5,000, but because it was cash that was deposited into their account, what I didn't know,
That cash has to be sourced, is that what you're saying?
SBC
Yeah.
money.
Where did that cash come from?
yes,
Right,
that is
it
what
can't
I,
be your mattress money, and then you put it into because the mortgage company or the bank is gonna wanna know where that cash came from.
okay, good. So, thank you for the clarification, because when it comes to earnest money deposit, I didn't know it matters, because we're,
Yep, yep.
but the lender says it cannot be cashed. How do they go about handling the earnest money deposit?
You mean after the fact?
Yes, after the fact that the buyer gave it to the.
What I've seen mortgage companies do, and again, that's on them, I've seen them back that deposit out, and then at closing you do an addendum that say there was not an earnest money deposit.
Okay, so in that situation, when that earnest money supposedly is in that trust account or that escrow account, what happens to that? Does the earnest money have to go?
Well, I had it happen here where we had to come check back.
That's what I wanna know, yeah. So I learned something
But
new.
speak to your buyers, when you're putting that offer together,
If
and
it's
have this
not-
conversation
Yes.
of where that money is coming from, you know?
Is it a gift?
Right, because I had, one time was, he won money at bowling, I swear to God, the night before, and that, we ran, and that was like maybe 7, 8 years ago, we ran into a big issue with that.
So how do they prove that? I mean, obviously, if you want it, or if it's a gift,
We had to back that out, because that couldn't be.
so you have to start all over.
So, yeah, now if they got that cash 20 years ago, I'm just saying, then it's seasoned in the account, it's money they had in
Right.
the account, but the red flags raised, we're like, wait a minute, we just saw it, where did that come from, you know?
So then we have to explain that to me again, back the offer out, or
Yeah, it's-
do an addendum.
Do an addendum, and it's a
Same.
mortgage company will guide on that, because then it's on them, and they structure how they want that done. I only had it happen in my 27-year career, I've had it happen, I think, twice.
Okay,
Louis had it happen.
One time.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they couldn't explain where the deposit money came from, and because that was going to send up a red flag to the mortgage underwriters, the lender requested that we do an addendum to the purchase agreement stating that there is no earnest money deposit, and then we gave the money back to the purchaser, and then that took care of that red flag.
Gotcha.
Okay,
How long does it take to get the money seasoned?
a couple months.
Yeah, at least, right.
I just never looked.
Yeah, at least a couple months, and that's a good point you brought up, because, again, what we were talking about, preparing the offer for your buyers, that is a conversation you probably want to have when you're doing it, and I always say, where's it coming from, because it can't just, if it is a gift, it has to be sourced. Yeah, could throw a wrench in the system, because you're like 30 days on down, so.
Is that a conversation you would have with buyers when you first meet with them, explain?
Yeah, that's kind of, that's my yes, because I do a buyer consultation with my buyers, I have them come in and we do talk about that. But again, I'll reiterate it again when we're putting an offer together. But yes, that's a great time to do it too, when you're initially meeting with them and telling them what they need to buy a house, you know, for sure.
So if they do have mattress money,
Yes.
If you're having that consultation, you need to tell them, we're gonna need an EMD, so you need to deposit that now.
Yeah. And then what I would tell them, talk to your lender
Okay,
and make sure to let them know what you're doing.
okay,
Because that might not be enough time.
right.
If you're writing an offer today, and chances are it's gonna close in 30 to 40 days.
But at your consultation, that's as soon as you can.
True.
Like, if you're thinking
But I would
of putting
tell
an
them,
offer,
talk to
you're
your lender
figuring
and let them know, mattress money may not necessarily work right now.
Okay.
When you come across a case like that, because it's, I don't want to say it's common, but it does happen. Don's 100% correct. Have the buyer talk with the lender, because the lender will instruct them what to do. In some cases, what I have them do through the lender is they will have like a parent or somebody gift them $2,000. The parent has money in their account, okay, so it's been seasoned already, so there's no issue.
Yeah.
And then after they get that done, then the buyer can give $2,000 to the parents to put into their account. But that's gotta be done afterwards.
So it really should be a draft pretty soon.
I would agree.
I have never done that. I've never had an issue, so I
And
never.
I said, it's happened to me twice, but it does happen.
Okay.
And it's all about educating that buyer as well, And you can have that talk, as Brad said, when, the first time you meet with them, that consultation, but bring it up again when you're writing the offer, and they're doing that deposit. Just wanna make sure you know where it's coming from, because the bank's gonna wanna know. Anything else from role playing that somebody's got to add?
I know a lot of people don't use checks, including me, I haven't used them in years. Suppose you want to make an offer on a Saturday or Sunday. You can't get a check from a bank, or closed,
Right.
what do you do?
Well, you could do as you've seen here, where in the purchase agreement, on a paragraph where it has for earnest money, you could say that it's gonna be deposited upon acceptance. So if you're doing that on a Saturday, you still put, say it's $2,000, you put the $2,000 in there, and then you'll have a check for them on Monday, so to speak, or upon
Could you put
acceptance.
that in the addendums or whatever?
You could put it on additional conditions, but when you look at paragraph number 4, it's on the second page, it kind of explains that in there. If none marked on, so then you can put the amount, and it says it will be, in whatever calendar days, you could say 2 or 3 calendar days from, buyer's receipt of seller's acceptance.
Okay.
And if that listing agent asks you, how come there's no deposit, then just explain, Yeah, because you're right, I'm running into more and more people, the other people, they do not have checking accounts today, so they either have to go get a certified check or bank check. Yes, Lou?
A lot of our offers are done electronically today anyways, so you're not with the buyer
Right.
at that point in time.
That's a
So
good
you
point,
can't
Lou.
even get a check, okay? So I just put in the remarks that on the deposit, I put an initial deposit 0, and then I put an additional deposit put in there with so many days after the seller's written acceptance of this offer.
No.
It's
And
gotta
then
be
kind of
written.
like that in that paragraph 4.
That's kind of how I do it.
It's already pre-worded
Yeah.
as well, for sure. Yep, so don't let that stop you, Mark.
Not long.
All right, anybody else? Very good on that part? Okay. So the next step in offers is you as a listing agent, the seller's agent, getting an offer on your seller's behalf. So again, to me, don't let the machine do it for you. It's all about rapport building, you now talking to that buyer's agent. And if they haven't called you, like I advise you as buyer's agents to call listing agent, if you get an offer and it doesn't show up in your spam, because I said I've had that before without them calling, I call them immediately and say, I just saw you send an offer. I didn't hear from you, but I want to make sure you know that I did receive your offer. I start asking them questions about the buyer, seeing what that buyer's motivation is. So, for example, so why? Where are they coming from with this? And of course, you're taking notes, because this way you can reiterate that to your seller. Okay. And when presenting it to your seller, say that it's a low ball or whatever. I always tell my sellers, we have an offer, which is better than no offer. Okay, but it's lower than what you were looking at, and then you explain why. And sometimes those sellers freak out, oh my God, forget it, tell them to get lost. I said, wait a minute. We haven't lost anything here. We haven't pulled it off the market. We still have it available to other people. And at that time, you would be going over with your seller too. How long have you been on the market? If it's been up for 30 days or more, maybe that's, then you say, let's look at this.
It's what the market is telling us.
Exactly. And then you might want to do another CMA for them, just to see where that house is at in the market, price-wise and so forth. So if that buyer came in with a low ball offer and they are concerned, maybe let's go back to that roof or whatever. You reiterate that to the seller and say, I never advise my sellers to reject an offer. Always counter, because you never know. And that, I tell them, that's why you hired me to negotiate for you, negotiate on your behalf.
So if you counter and then they just don't want to go forward with the counter, then?
You mean the buyer then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
And then your sellers are like, we lost the offer. How do you backpedal that?
Well, they still really didn't lose anything. Mm-hmm. That particular deal didn't go through. But again, you haven't pulled it from the market or we haven't comped it.
Right. So we have to recomp and say, okay, obviously they didn't like our counter. Let's look at the comps again. We're going to have to adjust the sale price to get back into the market.
Right, and that could be at least a way for you to get a price reduction.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, now we got an offer.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they came in at. I understand you don't want to go that low. But why don't we readjust the price, see if we can get you another offer, maybe a better offer this time.
But Dominic, that would all depend on the seller's net sheet, right? Because sometimes they can kind of be under where they can't really go low because of how much they can afford.
And again, it depends on how you're talking about what the seller's going to take.
Yes.
Right. But you usually, and I did do a seller's net for you guys, but we'll go over that in a bit. That's going to be talked about at this thing as well, though. So you're going to know, because it may come to a point. It might come to a point where you're doing the CMA for them now. This is back, and you're on a listing appointment. This is getting off subject a little bit. And they have to walk away with so much or they're going to be upside down. But if the house is only worth what it's worth and they're upset, so that's where they either have to decide if they're going to move or not, or if they have the money to bring to the closing table. We were seeing a lot of that when the market crashed for people that still were able to sell. Sellers were coming and closing with a check just to be done with it. I haven't had that happen in a while since the market has recovered, but that does happen. But that's a discussion you're going to have, from the get-go. You were asking questions, Brian?
You were saying that you could change, like lower the price and give an offer. How would you go about that?
Well, no, what you would do, so she was asking, say if your seller countered that offer, and then that buyer said, forget it, I'm moving on to something else. Then that could be an open for discussion with your seller to say, hey, we got an offer here. It didn't go through, but why don't we lower it a little bit? You do a CMA for them again. And then see if we can get you a better offer. See if we can get you another offer. Because I always tell my sellers, a offer, like I said, is better than no offer. And going back to even before an offer comes in to get a price reduction, one of my lines to them is, let's get your price to a price where I can at least get you an offer that we're going to reject, rather than not getting an offer at all.
So whenever you do a price adjustment with your sellers, I've always been kind of like 5% just to see what happens. And if we don't get anything within the first week, then we go to 10%.
Yeah, I usually do the 5 and 10, but I do that in increments of 5,000.
Right.
Drop it $5,000.
Okay.
And they look at you or they're like, whatever. So wait a minute again.
That's
and I always tell them, if we're underpriced, we're going to get multiple offers, and you're going to get more than that anyway. If we're not, we're going to know where we're at.
right.
Do that after a couple weeks?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I usually do. And just, I said, I know we're getting off of the offers here, but that's good discussion. When I'm at listing, I always tell my sellers, we gauge it in one of two ways. If we've been on the market for a couple weeks and we have nobody that's come through, we say that that is the market telling us we need to make an adjustment. Or if we're getting a great number of showings, but not even a ridiculous offer, I tell them then that's the buyers telling us we need to make an adjustment. And I say, we'll have that conversation.
What's the difference?
What do you consider?
Between the market telling you and the buyer.
Well, the market telling you is there's nobody coming through, nobody looking at your house. That's the market telling you that we're priced out of market. The consumer telling you they're coming through your house, but they're not even making you a whole offer.
So you gotta change it less dramatically as opposed to the market telling you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, and again, going back to talking to the buyer's agent, you know, again, find out as much as you can about their buyer, find out how long they've been looking. Make sure that there's a pre-approval, because that's the first thing I ask for. It's like, well, I got your offer here. Who are they going through? Or if it's cash, where's the bank statements at? You know, so we don't want to waste anybody's time.
Shouldn't that come in with the offer itself?
Yes.
It
I
should,
said if it doesn't,
technically.
that's the first question you're gonna ask.
Okay.
You know, and sometime it could be a weekend, like Mark said, and if their lender's not working on the weekend, then at least give me a name and number of who they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if it's Doug Engelhardt or Matt Boffel, I want to call them at least on the weekend and say, hey, you're working with Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Is there any way you can get a pre-approval? And if they're whatever they can, at least they can tell me that the process has started, credit was checked, and where they're at. Okay. You know, and then you're going to ask that buyer's agent, what do they like? You know, what do they like about this property that they made an offer? You know, how did they come up with their price? So if it's a low ball, ask those questions. Why are they coming up with that? Why are they lowballing it? Are they just looking to get a deal, or are there concerns?
I know, a thing that has started, and I don't know about on here, the buyers sending a letter with the offer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's what we were saying when you may have came in after we talked about that.
Probably.
But as a buyer's agent, yeah, you can have your buyer write a letter. You know, I wouldn't do the pictures, and we learned kind of that you shouldn't do that, but you can have them do a letter.
Yeah.
You know? And I think Carl said earlier, it all depends on the situation. It's not all the time for certain situations.
Right.
It's good in a multiple offer situation, because I've had multiple offers come in on my listings where I had one last year where the letter actually did it because there was some offers that were, my seller felt better about that buyer, you know, getting in their home, and it kind of goes back to it humanizes the situation or the offer. So, again, going back to, you know, I have highlighted here, it says if possible, present that offer in person. So even if that buyer's agent is electronically sent it to you, which 9 times out of 10, that's what it's going to be, but it doesn't say you as a listing agent can't sit down with your seller and talk about it face to face. I learned long ago, I know I mentioned about being at the kitchen table, but if you can get them to come into the office and away from the home, that's better to do, because then it takes them away from it, it makes it a little bit more of a business situation. And I tell them, you know, when I'm presenting to my seller, and I say, I'm going to be the bad guy here. I'm going to have you put your business hat on and reduce this to bricks and sticks. And they look at you. And I tell them, your memories are your memories. I know, you know, this might be the first home. This is where you started your family. But you take that with you. It's in your heart. You got photos and whatever. This is business now. Because that buyer doesn't, you know, not to be cold, but that stuff means nothing to them. You know, they're buying a house now to make their own memories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So these are conversations, you know, I have that listing and I have it again, whether I'm presenting to my seller in person or I'm presenting to them over the phone, you know. And again, emotions are going to run high. It's always important that us as agents keep our emotions in check and stay calm. Even though inside, you know, you might be coming out of your skin. I've been guilty of that before. I'm a high-strung Sicilian. So I happen to, I gotta back it up. And I always think, you know, what Doug says, you know, seek first to understand, slow down and just listen.
That was the biggest thing for me to learn, was to slow down and listen. Take the step back.
Yep.
Take the breath. Analyze it. Then call.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, because that even
huge.
happens where, you know, you'll get a low ball offer come in and you want to call and scream at that agent or what the hell. You just call them down, then you call and say, hey, got your offer, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about your offer. You know, again, talking about the buyer. Why did they come in? They came in notice, so I don't know what my seller's gonna do, but, you know, I'm obligated to present it, and I will do that. Not sure, you know, but. And when you are, what I forgot to mention, offer either way if you're doing it for the buyer or the seller. I always say, you know, when that buyer writes that offer, fingers crossed, say a prayer, and we'll see what happens. Never tell them you know or you know what the outcome's gonna be, just say fingers crossed, I'm pulling for you.
Do you ever ask the buyer's agent if this is a make or break? Is this the highest and best?
Sure,
Or if
Sure,
something's not quite right, is this the deal breaker?
yes.
You do ask.
Yeah, I will ask her, like, is this their bottom line or whatever you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do ask.
Okay.
See, now, just because they say yes, you'll learn that doesn't mean.
Of course.
Yes. They might say, my buyer's not gonna go. I love it when they say, well, there's one down the street. Well, why are we so lucky? If they liked one better down the street, you know. So even if they say this is it, just always go back, there's a counter, go back with that counter. Explain then to that agent why your seller's countering. Give them a little insight on where your seller's coming from. You know, again, it's like I said, it's all about humanizing and it's all about communication. And I said, I call it machines or whatever. What I find, you know, being doing this as long as I have a lot of new people come in and they think that's, you know, just gonna be it. And that's kind of what our society's becoming. We can't look each other in the face and so forth. But, you know, this business, as we talk about in our meetings, it is changing. And the whole Zillow thing, but I still feel that's always gonna be a people business. You know, this is, you know, one of the biggest financial decisions you're gonna make in your life. You're not gonna just do it. Buyers and sellers aren't gonna just work with the computer to do that. You still gotta be involved in one way or another. I can't stress how important that is. So, any other questions on any of that so far? Good. Does anybody need a 5-minute breather, break, coffee break, or bathroom break? Everybody's good?
Don, I have just a process question.
Yes, sir.
When you do counters back and forth, do you typically do them on addendums, or do you write them right on the purchases?
You do it right on a purchase agreement. You do a cross out, or so if you're the seller's agent, know what we're talking about. You could do that. Have your sellers initial it. A lot of times, again, though, what I'm finding, they're done verbally first, right?
Yeah,
They're done
do
verbally
that, and
first.
ask, how do you feel about doing the verbal offer and verbal counter offers?
Well, there's more and more today,
Yeah,
the way things are electronically. What I would still do though, what I do is if that agent says, all right, my people are countering here or whatever, do an email so there's a record of it.
Always see why.
What's that?
Always see why.
Correct. Is probably cross out initial the best thing? Yeah, because then you're showing that it was really done. And you're sending it over. To me, it just looks more real to me when you do
I
that.
saved all the emails when I did it.
Where when it tends to be verbal, then that buyer can come back, oh, they'll just counter it again. Where if they see it, they might say, well, that's it. Okay, we're gonna do it. You know?
Do we not have a counter offer form?
It's on the purchase agreement. It's to counter.
Yeah, it has a timeline in there, correct. But you could have a form to do that. You could even make one up. I don't know if we have one in
I
our.
haven't seen it.
But like I said, you can either do it, you can cross out, so if, they came in at 150, but that seller countered at 155, cross it out, put the 155 on there and have your seller's initial in. And then, again, electronically, you can do all that as well. Yes, sir.
When you're having a showing on the property, do you recommend that the sellers not be there or let them in or whatever and then just
Get the hell out of the way.
Well, the reason why I'm asking this is because that has something to do with that letter that the buyer is presenting. Because
I
how
always,
I work
yeah, go ahead.
is if the seller says, should I be there or should I not be there? It's whatever you feel comfortable with. But if you're gonna be home, let them in and stay out of their way. Okay, just let them go through and do what they're doing. Because this goes directly to that letter. Because if they're getting a couple offers on their property, and that young couple with the little girl happens to write this letter, and then they're reading that, and they go, wait, is that young couple with that cute little girl that was here? Man, that just sucks it right in, and you get the offer accepted that way too. So, well, you gotta kind of look at
My sellers will,
a couple different ways.
I usually advise them not to be there, but I tell them this is your home, I can't kick you out of your home. But what I do tell them is if you are gonna be here, let us in and totally get out of the way, don't follow us around. Because my reasoning for that is when that buyer's walking in the home, they wanna already see that as their own home. That's why you advise them to take personal pictures down and so forth. But again, I tell them, if you're gonna be here, you're gonna be here. I can't kick you out, because some people have trust issues. And they don't want people going through their house when they're not home. But that's a good point, though. I didn't think of that. So if they say, oh, that was
that's happened to me several times in my career, where they liked the couple that came through because they were able to put the faces together with the offer. And the seller liked that.
Right.
Let's go back to the days when we were more personable instead of everything being electronic.
So also, you had mentioned seller's net before. So when you are, of course, presenting that offer to your seller, I always do, is everybody familiar with what a net out sheet is? I'm gonna pass one out in a minute. So what that is, it has the purchase price and then all the costs associated with that, and then you subtract all those costs from where that price is, and it shows either what their walkaway is, or if they're upside down, it shows what they need to bring to closing. So what I always do, even if it's a low offer, I always do a net out that reflects that offer. Because what I have found, mostly a seller is concerned not so much with what that price is on top, with what their money is in their pocket. So I tell them, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you accept this offer today, you're walking away with $55,000. Just pause. Oh, well. Then they might ask, okay, well, what are they offering me? And you're going to go back to that, and you're going to explain everything. But I learned a long time ago, always go right to what their net is.
Really?
First. And then you back up and you explain, here you're offering me $155, here's your mortgage for, $75, here's your commission, here's your title insurance, here's your state and county transfer tax, home warranty, and so forth.
So on the net out, we get their idea of what they owe on the house. We
And
don't
you get
have
that
the
at listing.
exact.
Right. Usually what they'll do is they'll pull out a statement and show you, I owe this, but then because that doesn't always reflect principal and interest, so I'll even pad that a little bit more, so if it's, if they owe 75 grand, I might put it at 76, just because. But yeah, usually you get that at listing, because you're gonna do a net on at listing too, but I always do it again when that offer comes in. And rather, even if I know they're not gonna accept, still do it to reflect that offer. That's where you start. And then once they come to an agreement on price, so if they, that offer came in at 150, they counter at 152, then you will do another net offer that reflects then what the actual price is agreed on and what their walkaway is. And the reason I advise you to do that this way, when we come to closing and all the docs come in, I thought I was getting more than that. And you say, well, here we are, we have a $50 difference, but you can say we already discussed this, and then you have them sign that net out. I have them sign it at listing, then I have them sign it again once that offer has been accepted to reflect that offer. But I said, I always say just go to net first, and then you come back up with their, what all their costs are, because a lot of times they're really just more concerned with what they're going to have in their pocket anyway. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do, you guys have those purchase agreements there. I'm going to have you role play it where you're presenting it to your seller, what we talked about. I'm going to give you guys a copy. Can you get somebody, see if you can get somebody through there? I don't know if there's, maybe get with these guys. Maybe three, they say first, sure. But anyway.
Okay.
Everybody sign it?
Well, my name's not in here. My name's not in here.
Oh, and I don't think they need it. Okay. You're presenting to yourself. Correct. So now you're presenting to your seller. So you're presenting to your seller, take it from a standpoint that they came in low. So try to talk about negotiating and getting them to car. Oh, yeah. And if anybody needs a break, coffee break or bathroom, you can do that now as well. Yes.
No. My Chaz, this is joy. It's bothering me. I trust, I want to say we got a great offer in. First, I'm gonna tell you, net out, the fee is $145,000. So the offer came in at $258,000. I'm just, I have no idea if that's right. I'm just saying I saw that number. But you're gonna give them the net out first. So, if your net out
Had the process of $495.
is $125,000. With all the expenses, the brokerage fee.
Title insurance.
What's left.
Well,
That all deducted from the offer, this is what you have. So we start off with the net.
Start off with when they're
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I had to get to the bank and she just said, well, exactly. What are you talking about? But it was the whole closing. Mix it together, especially if we're together. Tina, talk a lot about issues that what's happening. Usually we Yeah, that's very much my problem. Title work, she was title work, involved in title work, she was a real estate, she negotiated very well, going to look at the but now she wants to basically do what we did at our house. Price of materials. And not just go to the $4 $50 a square foot. She doesn't know how to. She's terrific, I love her, but she does not. We'll have to, we will literally be, depending on where the religious, but you do is tile at Home Depot, Rangers, tile, there's other nice places. So, she's trying to get home just to see and
right, so you're doing the challenge for six, like, wow, you're perfect. You're trying to find out.
I don't know, I'm kind of.
No, you're good. She's good, she gets it right out.
Oh, she loves it, yes. She's got one hammer, she's knocking walls down. She's really good, she's great eyes. Yeah, so we'll
You do that right there at the point. It's like a rough.
the first time she lives, everybody lets you know, okay, she checks. Yeah.
So you're correct, you listen.
I wonder, there's interest.
So then, you get the listing, you're like, then when the offer comes in, you're gonna look on this sheet to see what they're worth. So when the offer comes in, you're gonna do this all over again.
I don't think she got it yet.
And then you have it.
She's fine. It's just too fast. Yesterday she pulled up all these houses and today she's there. I mean, it's, doesn't make sense. There's zero research into it.
You're gonna explain it.
But what's commission she wanted to start on that?
This title insurance is
That was a long way around. So we put this wire in. Like a normal wire.
He was,
3 staircases.
like 3 months maybe a year. I'm my doctor said once you got over, he was happy with that. He's like, where am I going to go? Decided to call,
So
things had moved up, we're having somebody come out and put in the trim. We're gonna go right away.
Oh, good.
Okay, so I'm sitting here like, okay, now I have to do that. I paid for one. We're done.
You're good.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that answer that.
You wanted to know about starting out with bottom line. Why are we starting out with bottom line? On the.
It has, when you get that more details, it'll take off. So I was explaining to Connie, I get that right when I go to listing. Because you're gonna do that. Then you're gonna do it, yes. Things like that. Then I go, once you do it, save that sheet.
Really? All right. In terms of good experience, right?
I always.
Now they're building like crazy.
Where? Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When not
I grew up.
Oh, did you?
Our family, our best friends, our siblings work out on the same age.
No, they, no, we had.
You are. Oh, no. Yeah. I can see, do open house for points as well.
I did.
Oh, yeah. That's you. That was Joey. That's great. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Stonewood. You did open house for the weekend? All right. There we go.
I'm the crazy one that, I don't care.
Yeah, there you go.
No, he's a good guy.
I mean, I love what he does. He's very professional. So. Sure.
Yeah, he was laughing at me when I came down the table, and he was giving me this scrubs and stuff like.
Right. Sure.
We were out of time.
What's tricky in this situation, I mean, 3 grand almost.
Right.
So put it 140.
Yeah.
You doing any?
Yeah, I'm still new at it, I'll get.
I mean, the thing, there's some
I mean, I guess this makes sense too.
it's very personal because
Fixing the target shop down. Say, in some cases, say, no, you walk over this. I mean, this is a nice to have this with one side, 2 on the other 2. And then to see the difference.
you guys want
I know. I know, I can't wait. I know it's tedious.
But you probably
I just probably started doing
Have you been practicing scripts or?
I don't care about it. But your price over here.
I like this price, this has been a good one. I've learned something about it. Yeah, I have two. On Wednesday.
You have a phone.
There's about showing Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 on Wednesday. Oh, yeah. Did you go to coaching?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
No, I went to
Script.
I went to class over.
No, I know.
How'd you like that? It was good.
Like the call thing.
I know, that's what we had. We do it more. It was about.
Collaboration.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you should have like.
This is the office. Yeah, and they really do. They do. Yeah, the one lady, the lady taught is an agent here. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Also now colleagues.
Sure.
Are you?
The lakeside.
He's
They're
tricky.
big users. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. Oh, I know. And plus it was cool because I was the third person in the class. I like when that like really small. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the mom, that's how it started.
Down there. Yeah. Yeah, I think you are.
One of these days I'll get into the building.
gotta learn how to use all that.
I know.
Are you staying?
And then I feel like I haven't talked to my, like, I
What do you-
was, like, I don't know, I spent 4 hours just going through my contacts and command, but I only got my aides, I have a lot of contacts. And so, but then since I've been doing all this, I kind of got off, and so I need to get back on, you know what I mean, fixing people that.
I have 700. I tried to choose like 10.
Yeah.
Finish them out. You have their address and their phone number and their email address.
Yeah.
Or if you know a spouse, make them 2 contacts.
Right, that's what I've been trying to do, is, you know, kind of get them in there right. But I wanna get like, because like I'm definitely this person that, you know, number guy, and then a number. I want to find a nice time to send them, hey, you know, and then see if I can get any more information to add to that.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, see, I switched jobs. We're not doing this and we're not doing this. You don't know anybody. Videos are working. That's what Janet said. I would do
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so I think all those things are good and stuff. Obviously, what do you call the biggest problem that other people find?
my son like
See,
This is the first thing. That's the first thing. Thank you. Thanks for this. Good turnout. That's what we were saying. Right.
Okay, but you gotta.
Yeah, right.
Some of the peers.
You gotta write the tax when you're there.
Okay.
Right?
I'm just curious, what's the $70 for the bottom here?
You know,
It's
just recording sometimes.
I just said sure, whatever.
The guide on the mortgage, how much it costs.
Yeah, those guys. I didn't have a mortgage.
Yeah, I know.
That particular property discount.
Yeah, she'll have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy.
County transfer, you know,
I should have mentioned.
Do you need this right now?
Oh,
She can loan it to you.
No, she can go get it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, $8.60. What is this for? It goes to the state, it goes to the.
I was just telling Dave.
Disclaimer or mortgage?
There's one house sale.
There's no term limits.
Right, you just made the call.
City certification. Goes for you. You need a certificate.
I'm sure you got it. Mortgage, they automatically give you home equity line, and I never even paid attention to it.
But I would be surprised.
That's fine.
Just one. Yeah, even then.
Estimate mortgage.
Yeah, but it's there. I don't want it. You take my name
A
out.
home warranty. Are they getting-
Most of the time, you
What do you need to do?
sign this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Like they sign there.
You might as well do it up.
Yeah, we went up and
That's
watched.
what I'm trying to say. The reason you
That's what's crash happened.
is that you tell them look at something.
But yeah, now I remember.
That's the process.
Yeah, always.
It's gonna be taken care of, as long as you call. I don't know if you've done that. Home warranty. Okay. You gotta get that book. Just give them the book. Okay, you sign on there, so they accept it on their purchase. Okay, see, I'm asking for that. You can explain to them the reason they want to do it.
Don't worry
So
about
if the air conditioning, the
Also,
hot water tank,
Go,
what they have, they'll come out and take care of it.
you know, when you start. See, when I
Purchasers don't want it anyway.
So
take what you did.
Teacher, so.
So you just work.
Yeah,
You guys do like.
Don't change the
Yeah, we pretty much
This year's usually what water was on the then when they do it, it's
Get it all.
Seating works pretty good. We used to do that at our house, each every fall,
no, I don't think it's
rye grass.
You would never, I didn't say this. I wasn't here today.
No, we had, the backyard was pretty shady. We had, in the wintertime. Yeah, so we always split seeds with rye. Fall, and start grass was.
I guess I just got.
I don't know. And we had white.
Usually, I know we do trees.
Rain.
So I went up there and touched it together and it didn't.
I'm just trying to show you. What makes you
So
think?
I went back to his
Really?
text,
No, seriously, what makes you think?
right? So it'll show it here, and then I hit here, and I hit info, and then I hit this, right? And then you go down here to add contact. I did. And then
That's what I'm told.
I guess I have to
Well,
remember
it's
this time. So I had his text, and I hit,
It's just a mix of.
but it's not
No heat.
I'm hopeful that it's gonna need.
The worst one?
It's
It's not the plus. It's the plus. The best I've probably ever made.
You gotta mark it.
Yeah. By far, my part.
Look on the internet.
A lot of times I was
Look at
going
different
to
houses that have. Then you know.
like different, a lot of it is random. You get a sheet
What they call it.
This phone is worse than my 8 Plus.
Because it's a potential partial, I call it partially done.
Like shut down, the service is worse. It really gets hit or miss. You can get a sheet, you can't prove that it's broken. You know what I'm saying?
Is it the house cluster?
You gotta review. Or you get lucky. nice.
I haven't looked at,
It's not,
probably, I thought, had built a big patio and circuit and all this stuff in the house.
That's all right, I was.
I don't know. Oh, you know, this is really a bonus. Yeah. I just applied.
Well, I got 56.
Yeah.
You look nice. Your child. So, yeah, you after 2 years, and more than, we just did stick it, just paid off.
I had a house in the beach.
Yeah, that's what I had. And I but this match had 3 flats for 2 years. Just grass. People break their phones, they want to pay straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is?
Dude, I found out all Wednesday. Let's see people trying to sell.
Yeah,
This is cool, I really like that.
Yeah.
The house that.
The gazebo, yeah, they have railings across the whole thing, but we're gonna paint it. You see your old posts.
Yeah, that's cool. I wish I could. So I had a really cool manual for a guy in Troy. He was this old guy.
No, I'm talking to you.
Like, sit and come, these are.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of hard or something.
We're at the end of a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Nobody ever comes by. We see one neighbor. What's that? I know, yeah, we have it there, but even if you sit out there, you don't see anything. You know, yeah. Under there, we got 2 swings that we bought in Key West, under that thing, we have
Oh, yeah, I saw that
a
wrong.
and then we have 2 swings there, they're real comfortable, they're like, sit hammocks, and so we're sitting there. The fans get keeps the bugs away. You think back, you know, to like. We're a great old neighborhood. I just sit a couple times a year. Yeah, I love it. Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. I love it.
It's disappointing that there's not any cool beaches there.
There you go.
All right.
Go ahead. A friend of mine has a boat there.
Yeah, and that's.
And then we jump on the boat and then we go to the smaller islands, beaches everywhere. So
Yeah,
as long
I've done that.
as long as we get on a boat, then you can go to unbelievable beaches.
Yeah.
Like little islands are great.
You doing open houses?
But just to take a boat there, golf cart or something to a beach, it's tough.
There's a big one.
Oh, okay.
We have a beach that's 15 feet wide.
Right.
And that's it.
I
Well, the Waldorf has a nice.
I haven't been out there.
It used to be Waldorf, now it's mostly a nice development house or something.
Is that,
Well, probably get Castle or something.
Yeah.
With their team Castle.
Why not one day and for
They used to have a Castle.
2 more minutes, we'll get back out of here.
There's a little bit, there's a section. But, yeah, for the most part, I don't go in the water.
One of the things,
We got a boat.
I was like, did you paying this much? And
We have those little
then
team
basically,
lunch tours that you take. It's really cool, it's cheap. You have 4 or 5 people.
and then you just cruise out on them?
Yeah, they have a cat.
That was just one. That was only one
Blender,
couple.
they have a blender and stuff.
The other ones weren't ready.
Yeah, they have it in the choice for it's the same exact thing. But it's there, and they'll just take you to a sandbar, and they make drinks for it and stuff. We just brought like some rum and some vodka, and then a lot of mix and some of this mix. And they bring all the ice and stuff, and just make you drinks all the time, and just sit there.
Was it both that, were you a listing agent?
Okay.
And then as far as like how many, you have buyer staff?
So they work out.
One was moving to Florida, and one was moving home.
They just.
Yeah, no, I was just asking to see, like sometimes your people all, they were all hired.
I learned a language.
Oh, that's cool.
Piece of property.
Oh, I
didn't understand that.
I can see myself, maybe 10
I know he told me, like, he wasn't mad at me, but I was like, really? But it ended up calling me, and they came back to me later, said, okay, I'm ready to operate. I felt so good to say.
What did they say?
And that's a
Oh, okay, yeah.
Brian Fire, do not tell them.
Nothing like seeing.
Okay, we're they have to buy.
It's literally like falls, that's why I look at it and see the mountains. This is, Megan's Bay, St. Thomas, but
It is.
I just
But
love
he
seeing
didn't know, the guy told me, right, he did that, that's how he knows
He
it.
told you to do it, do the work, and then you wanna come in and get his commission.
like yours.
But he didn't get it anyway, so.
Good.
Yeah. The reason I don't see that lifetime ago now, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like doing listings better.
Yeah, and that's, you'll listen to all that.
I showed some homes for powwow on maternity.
Yeah, I could actually
I
say.
showed one lady
Yeah, I
two
used to joke about
homes.
it.
And it wasn't because I didn't narrow it down, she just kind
Had a
of
little
kept
teeny bar in the
like, oh,
bartender.
maybe I'm gonna do
We're
some
working my
construction,
flip
or maybe I'll do
flops.
adjustments.
Been there.
And she didn't buy anything, I was like, oh.
Actually, I used to bartend a lot.
So yeah, I don't know if that's what
And,
All right.
Thank you.
So how did that roll play go? How'd it go for you guys?
I would just.
Ahas or? They were all playing? You was around for me, but the main takeaway for me, she reminded me, I didn't start right. And that's my big, that's my big story. I think that's smart. That's Yes.
Sometimes think about.
And you know what, the good thing is, I think, is when you go right to your bottom line, is that
Or you could say, remember when we listed it, that's close to remember how you said that would be good, so here we are.
I think too, if you bring up how much it actually costs them to keep the house every month, and you use that against them, like, this is $25 different, if 3 more months, it's gonna cost you.
Absolutely.
So you need to go with that.
Very good, and I feel that, I do that too, but yes, that's.
Especially if you pay for the house, like, you take a little less, you're paying $1,500 a month.
Anyway, you're gonna, especially in the winter.
And I've never used that up.
have.
I have
Something to triple digits.
And it's not like I didn't know.
I don't think there's a lot.
You have to do that.
I really
Think about
have,
going down.
and I just always know it's gonna be, everything's there.
Yeah.
Where I do things, maybe use that listing or not, you should have that. The reason is because it's also your conversation, if they see a
Yeah, it's like 6 days.
they should say, well, this is that. Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah, I need to.
That's why it's giving.
I learned how to do that, and I'm familiar, but I've never, they've all been friends. One's dad was a teacher. She had done her own.
Yeah, you knew anyway. Some people just make
Yeah,
that.
so I need to master that, that's something I have to do, I have to use. I do also, I know how to do money, and I always said it got, but.
That's good too. That's very good. Well, so I would do a first incorporation.
I'm glad you brought it back out, I
Just give me here.
Yep.
So everybody see the importance of using that net option and what it can do for you and how it helps you get that offer along?
Yes. Crazy.
Carla just brought up a good point as well. When you're presenting that offer, you do the net option and they're hemming and hawing and tell them what it's still, if they don't take this offer, they could be stuck in the house a couple more months. It's gonna cost them anyway with what their payment is, utilities and so forth. That's a great point, Carla.
So, say you want to prospect apartment houses. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna door knock and say, you know what the rent is. You could still use this form to give them and say, you know what, you're paying rent every month. This is what.
Oh,
it
you
looks
could
like.
use that,
Can
you're
you
saying if
use
it's
that?
with a buyer, like with the
Yeah,
buyer,
you're-
that's, oh yeah. Say you throw money away, if you buy this and we get this deal through, because you're not gonna use this with the buyer. You know, the net out with the buyer, but yeah, that is good on the other end, because you could say, this, if you buy it, we get you to own something, then you have the possibility of building equity with running something, there's no,
Right.
your landlord's building equity. not you.
So, it's obviously not this form, is
Yeah,
it?
this form you would use with the buyer, this is with the seller.
Right, so do we have,
That's a good, I just want to bring up a point. Never share that with the buyer's agent.
no,
That's always between you and your seller. Don't
yes,
share
that's
that
the
form.
confidentiality
Because
thing.
if you send that or by accident or whatever, and then for some reason they see, oh, that seller's walked away with a great chunk of change. Screw that, I'm not taking that counter or whatever, so just be very careful. And where with this whole electronic thing, it could accidentally happen, so just be real careful with that. Another thing I wanted to ask, you see our W4 C2Ts or whatever, where some of this ties in with what we're talking about. You know, we want a win-win. You know, we want everybody to be happy, ourselves and ourselves. Always want to do the right thing when you are presenting and offering in those situations with the buyer or seller. Customers always come first. Communication, as I was saying, Doug always says, seek first to understand that. So keep yourself calm through the process. You know, when you're either side you're on, seller or buyer, you're a team. You look at it as a team. That's where the teamwork comes in. And trust, as it says, starts with honesty. Just be honest and upfront with your people, whether it's going to hurt you to be or hurt them. Just be upfront with them. I always tell my clients, I may not always tell you what you want to hear, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. And you may want to cuss me out there and then, but I feel in the long run, you're going to appreciate me just being upfront with you. It might hurt a little bit when I say it, but okay. So anybody out of talking about presenting and receiving offers, you see how important it is to have a human touch in there and to communicate the process either with your buyers and that buyer's agent, and then you're on the seller's end both as well. Again, don't just send an offer out electronically and then just hope for a response when it comes. And if you're representing your client, it's in their best interest. You're representing them, you're a fiduciary to them. You're obligated, in my opinion, to reach out and make those calls. You owe that to your client, you're doing that for your client. Any ahas out of today's class? We're going to wrap up here pretty soon, but Anybody have anything else to share what they got out of it? Maybe did I hopefully turn a light bulb on for some people? Maybe turn a light bulb on for me.
This whole sheet.
Yes. Was
The
new to you?
sellers, like, I love this, I was gonna ask my team leader if they can show me how my.
And that's in the forms as well, so you have access to that. Yep.
And this is very helpful, especially when you get a low offer and you're trying to like tell your seller, hey, maybe it's not that bad. If you give them like the breakdown here, and this is something that I really needed.
Good. Yeah, I feel it really helps. And then you, like I said, go right to that net first.
Yeah.
And then you can work backward from there, so.
Well, when it comes to those net out sheets, I always bring the one that I had when I listed the property, or I got price adjustments. Okay, so the latest version that I had for the listing side, I'll compare the two together. So that way you can say, hey, this is what this offer represents to you, to see if we can work with it, or if we need to make a counter.
Tweak it from
They're
there.
never, ever, ever just reject them.
Right. So that's good, Buster. And I said that's in the form, so I advise you to go back, print one out, and just mock one up, you know, and get real familiar with that. As far as, you know, after title insurance on there, you just go on First Printer, they have it online on their rate sheet.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, we're just helping me with that.
No, but my mom was working with Carla. She was very helpful and informative, so thank you.
How long have you been in business so far?
I'm just starting my second year. I've done a full year.
Yeah, that's one of our best reviews right here. So I watch, I see on Facebook what you're doing around the office. Stephanie, you got anything for us? What'd you get today?
Just a different approach when it comes to buyers, because like I've been working with buyers so far, and I'm working with sellers now, so this is good to know with regards to like what they want. So, just good, different information.
Good. You're your team right there.
I like how you, start with the net sheet before you let them know the address. I've never heard that. Awesome.
Good, good. Anybody else? What other highs overall, other than the net sheet? Anything else? Anybody gonna start incorporating something if they haven't already, or beside the net sheet?
I like what you said about making sure you're keeping that human touch by, you know, when you're making and receiving offers, making sure you're contacting the other agent.
Yeah, and it's, like I said, important today because we're getting so away from that, just as a society in general, just not in real estate. And it's very important.
It does make you stand out.
I always tell people, other agents, I'm working with the newer agents or young agents, I'll just say, I'm old school. So if you don't mind me calling you, but I feel we need to talk. We can text later or email, but we need to talk for a little bit. And they usually appreciate that. You know. Go ahead, Joy.
I think the biggest aha is always tell them that you have an offer coming. Text them, call them, tell them that you have an offer coming.
Yep.
And then, like, if you have an offer coming in, when you get it or when you don't get it, text them, call them, whatever, email saying received. I mean, it's just common courtesy, just that little received, so that you're not wondering if they got it or they didn't get it. And it kind of puts you at ease when you know that they got the offer or the other way around. So that's it. To me, that's just common courtesy, and I don't know if everybody does that.
Probably not. Yeah, that's good.
That's the sad part.
You want
Away from that.
You want to be the standout person. You want to be the one that people go to because you're doing it the way it should be done, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what I would advise too, like I said, you know, do mock-ups, sell your own house or whatever, and do it from both perspectives. And the more and more you get familiar with it, the more and more you're going to be comfortable with it. Role play, like, you know, get a partner in the cafe over there and just do it over and over and you'll become normal and familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing Brad and I were just talking about too, as far as the net out goes where it says mortgage balance on there, was a good point, Brad. Always ask beside your mortgage if there's an equity on here as well. Because a lot of people don't realize, or they don't think that that's going to be factored in, and you get to closing in here. Now, I learned it wasn't from my seller, it was a buyer I had, and I got to closing. This lady's crying there because she needed money then and didn't realize that they were gonna, so she had to run and get a check because then she was upside down. This is when the market was not as good as it is now. But always ask, you know, is this the only loan you have on a home mortgage? Or sometimes there could be, I think they talked about that, the title company the other day, whoever was at the meeting, you know, they could have had new windows put in because that could be a lien against the property as well. So. That was a good point, Brad. Brad said at the time he bought, they were just giving you the equity rather you sign up for it or not. They
And you have to
give
actually
you that
close
closing.
You have to actually close it
You have
or
to close it
still
out.
be in.
Correct. So always make sure. And then you can help them through that as well. Appreciate you guys being here today. I don't have much else, but go ahead, Lou.
I noticed that on this mock-up one, towards the bottom, like other miscellaneous fees, like $70.
Yeah.
I always include it to like maybe 300 because you have a $200 closing fee that we need to add in there too.
Yeah, and I usually, right, put that in with your title insurance.
But
Anyway, go ahead.
or even add it somewhere, but at least that way I can specify what it is. I just usually handwrite that in here. Closing fee 200 or 250.
Good point.
That way, because it's going to be a separate fee in the closing table anyways.
Right. I usually plug that in with my title insurance, and I explain that, but you could separate that like that. Absolutely.
Or if it's FHA, you might have
Yeah.
a certain amount of money.
Yeah, that offer was, right.
So those could be.
Your water loss, your water.
Yeah, you put that in there too. We usually don't. We got.
So at the beginning, who was lacking in their prospecting?
Alright, but he's new, so we're gonna.
That's all right.
But now we're gonna be on, keep it going.
All right, so we got a full script book for you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh.
I'm doing horrible.
Okay, and a couple more, and then if you guys just want to shoot me a email that you want one.
You get that list from your uncle when you call all those people and send all those people a letter.
Hey, Al.
Seriously.
You know how-
I did that, I was part of it.
Huh?
I don't
I say you know,
It really doesn't exist anymore.
I do print things. One more, if you didn't get one, just send me an email, technology@KW Lakeside, and I'll get you one printed out.
I don't know.
His dad, my uncle Mike, is president
Oh, okay. Very good. But seriously, you know, I was telling you before you got here, like, are we planning So anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. This was my first Ignite class. Hope I did okay. Ever have any questions? No matter if it's tomorrow or it's 6 months from now, you know where to find me. You know where my office is at. Come knock on my door. I will talk to you.
Thanks, Al.